The night sky burned with strange lights. Purple clouds twisted above the quiet valley, and shadows moved across the stars. The small alien village was silent, every door shut, every window dark. The people hid, whispering in fear of the enemies that ruled the skies. But in the middle of this silence, a single figure ran. A child. Thin arms pumping, glowing eyes filled with tears. They ran through the dusty paths past the empty homes until they reached the small fire at the edge of the forest. There, a human sat alone. The human had no name, the villagers knew. They only called him the Mighty One. His clothes were torn, his boots heavy with mud. A scar ran down his cheek and his eyes were cold, watching the flames without blinking. He had come to this planet by accident, his ship long destroyed, but stories had spread quickly. The aliens whispered that this human was different, strong in ways they could not explain. The child stumbled to him, falling to their knees. Their small hands gripped the human's arm. "Please, mighty human," the child begged, voice trembling. "My mother was taken. The enemies? They came last night. You must help me. Please save her." The human did not move at first. His eyes stayed on the fire, shadows dancing across his face. He had heard many voices cry for help since he landed on this world. Many he had saved, and many more he had not. But this child's words were different. There was fear, yes, but also something stronger, something like hope. The child's voice cracked. "No one else will fight them. Everyone hides. They say the raiders are too strong, but they say you are not like us. They say you cannot be broken." Finally, the human lifted his gaze. His eyes met the child's glowing ones, and for a long moment nothing was said, only the sound of the fire and the whisper of wind through the trees. Then the human spoke. His voice was deep, quiet, but every word carried weight. "Who took her?" "The Dark Raiders," the child whispered, shivering at the name. "They came in the night with their ships. They burn villages. They take people away. My mother tried to protect us, but they dragged her into the sky. I chased, but I was too small." Tears rolled down their cheeks. "She is all I have, please. You are the only one who can fight them." The human's jaw tightened. He knew the name. He had seen their ships too. Dark machines that filled the air with thunder. He had watched their soldiers move like shadows, armored and merciless. He had fought them once before, barely surviving. And yet, these aliens, these fragile beings, believed he was stronger than their nightmares. The human rose to his feet, tall and broad, towering over the child. The fire's glow lit his scarred face, and for a heartbeat, the child thought he looked less like a man and more like the legend the villagers spoke of. "You should be careful," the human said. "Sometimes legends are lies." The child shook their head fiercely. "No, I saw what you did in the last raid. You stood when no one else did. You made them fear. You are different. You are human." Silence fell again. The human stared into the sky, where faint shadows of warships floated like black scars against the stars. He could walk away. He had done it before. But something in the child's trembling voice, something in the desperate fire of their eyes made him stay. The wind grew colder. The fire hissed, and then far above a deep hum echoed through the night. The child froze. "They're coming." The human turned sharply. Over the treetops, glowing red lights appeared. A fleet of raider drones, their wings cutting the sky, moving like predators who had smelled blood. The child's breath caught. Fear shook their small body. They know I ran to you. They want you too." The human's hand went to the steel blade at his side. Primitive, but sharp enough to cut through armor if wielded with strength. His other hand grabbed the child's shoulder, steadying them. "Stay behind me," he said. The drones descended, black metal gleaming under the moonlight. Strange voices crackled from their speakers, a language twisted and harsh, one word repeated again and again, louder, sharper, echoing across the valley. "Human, human, human." The child clutched the human's coat. Their eyes widened in terror. The human narrowed his gaze. He did not run. He did not hide. He planted his boots in the dirt and raised his blade, the fire at his back. The raiders had come for him, and this time, he would not let them take another. The night sky was alive with red light. Raider drones circled above the valley like vultures. Their wings buzzed with a cruel hum, and their sharp voices shouted one word over and over. "Human, human, human." The villagers hid deeper in their homes, closing doors, covering ears, praying that the sound would pass. But everyone knew it was too late. The raiders were hunting. At the edge of the fire, the human stood with his blade ready. The child hid behind him, trembling, their small hand clutching the corner of his torn coat. The drones swooped low, shining beams of red light across the ground. Dust rose, the forest shook. One drone landed, its legs stabbing the earth like spears. Its metal head turned, scanning. Then it spoke in a deep, broken voice. "Give us the human, or more will be taken," the child gasped. They wanted him. Not just the mother. Not just the villagers. They wanted the human. The human's face hardened. He gripped the blade tighter, eyes never leaving the machine. His voice was calm but sharp as steel. "You tell your masters." "I don't surrender," the drone hissed. The others moved closer, surrounding him. Sparks flashed along their bodies, weapons charging. The child pressed closer against him. "They will kill us. They will burn everything." The human's jaw clenched. He swung his blade in one clean arc, striking the nearest drone. Sparks exploded. The machine screamed and fell to the dirt, smoking. The other drones shrieked, then shot back into the sky, their red lights fading into the distance. For now they were gone. The valley was silent again, but everyone knew it would not last. The child's knees gave way. They collapsed in the dirt, tears streaming. "They will come back. With more soldiers. They will destroy us. Please, mighty human, you must help." The human cleaned the blade with slow, steady movements. He did not answer. His eyes lifted to the stars where the raiders' ships glowed faintly like scars in the sky. The child crawled to him, clutching his arm. "Please, my mother is in their fortress. They take people and never return. But they fear you. You can save her." The human turned his gaze down to the child. His scarred face gave nothing away. His voice was low, almost like he was speaking to himself. "Why should I fight for you? Why should I risk my life?" The child's breath caught. For a moment they had no answer. Their glowing eyes blinked with confusion, then filled with anger. "Because no one else will," the child cried. "Our people are broken. We hide, we run. We whisper in the dark and pray for mercy, but mercy never comes. My mother is the only one who stood against them, and now she is gone. You say you are strong. You say you are human. If you will not help, then the raiders win." The words struck deep, sharper than any blade. The human rose to his full height, tall and broad against the dying fire. He walked a few steps away, his boots crunching on the dirt. He looked toward the horizon where the enemy fortress glowed faintly in the distance, black towers outlined by the red of their ships. He remembered the first time he saw them, the dark raiders. He remembered the fire, the screams, the smell of ash. He had barely survived. Since then he had chosen silence. He had chosen to hide, to fight only when forced, to survive. But the child's words pulled at something he thought long buried, something old, something human. The child staggered to their feet, voice breaking. "If you will not fight for her, then I will go alone." The human turned sharply. The sight of the small figure standing in the cold wind, body trembling but eyes burning with desperate courage, froze him in place. He saw not just a child but a spark, a fire against the dark. For a long moment the world was silent, only the whisper of the wind, only the distant hum of raider engines in the sky. Then the human stepped back to the fire. His hand tightened around the blade. His voice was low, steady, unshakable. "I will help you, but hear me, child. Once we walk this path, there is no turning back. The raiders will hunt us. They will kill to stop us. Are you ready for that?" The child swallowed hard, then nodded. "If it means saving her, I am ready." The human looked into the flames one last time, then kicked the fire out with his boot. Darkness covered the valley. Only the stars above remained, cold and sharp. He strapped the blade to his back. His eyes locked on the distant glow of the raider fortress. "Then we move," he said. The child followed close, their small steps quick to match his stride. Fear still lived in their chest, but so did hope. For the first time since the raid, hope burned brighter than fear. Behind them, hidden in the shadows of their homes, the villagers watched. None spoke. None moved. But in their hearts, whispers began. The human was walking into the darkness, and perhaps, just perhaps, he would bring the light back with him. The path to the raider lands was broken and cold. Trees bent like bones in the wind, their leaves long turned to ash. The ground was cracked, scarred by fire from old raids. Every step the human and the child took echoed in the silence. as if the world itself was holding its breath. The child walked close behind, eyes wide, ears sharp for every sound. "They will come again," the child whispered. "They never leave a survivor alive." The human did not answer. His eyes stayed fixed on the dark horizon where faint red lights pulsed like a warning. His hand rested near the blade strapped across his back. He had fought before, but tonight felt different. Tonight the raiders were not hunting a village. Tonight they were hunting him. Suddenly the wind carried a sound. A low hum growing louder. The human stopped. The child froze, their breath caught in their throat. Out of the dark sky shapes appeared, raider soldiers, not machines this time. They descended on black wings of metal, their armor glowing faint red, their faces hidden behind sharp masks. In their hands they carried weapons of fire, humming with deadly energy. There were 6 of them. The human stepped forward, planting himself between the child and the soldiers. His voice was steady. "Stay behind me." One of the raiders lowered its weapon. Its voice was rough, metallic, like stone grinding against stone. "Human, you do not belong here. You will surrender, or you will be taken." The human's jaw tightened. "I don't surrender." The raiders hissed, their voices rising together like a broken chorus. "Then you will die." They moved fast. Too fast for the child's eyes to follow. But the human was ready. He drew his blade in a single motion, sparks flying as it clashed against the first raider's weapon. The sound of steel against energy rang across the valley. The fight began. The human ducked low, swinging his blade in a wide arc. One raider fell, armor split, sparks bursting from the wound. Another rushed from the side, but the human spun, blocking, pushing back with strength that shook the earth. The child watched, eyes wide, heart pounding. They had heard stories of humans, but stories were weak compared to this. The human fought with no fear, no hesitation, only raw will. But the raiders were not ordinary soldiers. They moved like shadows, their armor glowing hotter with each strike. 2 attacked together, their weapons clashing against the human's blade, pressing him down. Sparks burned his skin and his muscles strained. The child cried out. "Mighty human!" The human growled, pushing back with sudden force, breaking the lock. His blade slashed upward, cutting one raider's mask in half. The soldier screamed and fell, but another leapt from behind, its weapon raised. The child, without thinking, grabbed a stone from the ground and hurled it. It struck the raider's head with a crack. Not enough to hurt, but enough to distract. The human turned in time, blade flashing, striking the raider down. Now only 2 remained. They circled the human, moving in perfect rhythm, their voices hissing through their masks. "He bleeds, he tires. He is only flesh." The human's chest rose and fell, sweat running down his face, but his eyes stayed cold. He raised his blade again, the raiders charged. The first swung high, the second low. The human twisted, blocking one, kicking the other. His blade pierced through armor, sparks and black smoke filling the air. He pulled free just in time to strike the last one. The valley went silent. 6 raiders lay broken on the ground. Their weapons flickered and died. The child stood frozen, shaking. Slowly they stepped forward. Their glowing eyes looked at the human as if seeing him for the first time. You really are what they say. You are mighty. They fear you because it is true." The human wiped blood from his cheek. His voice was rough, low. "They fear me, because I remind them of what they cannot control." The child frowned. "What do you mean?" The human did not answer. His eyes lifted to the sky where far above more red lights glowed. The raiders were watching. The fight had been only the beginning. The child followed his gaze, fear tightening their chest. "They will come again, stronger. They will bring their warships." The human nodded once. His blade dripped with sparks of dying energy. His voice was steady, cold. "Then let them come." Hours later, as they walked again, the child held something in their hands. A charm, small and silver, shaped like a star. They whispered softly. "This belonged to my mother. She said it would guide me when I was lost. I think it led me to you." The human glanced at the charm but said nothing. His thoughts were already ahead, on the fortress that waited, on the enemy that would not stop. The child looked up at him, voice trembling but full of hope. "We will save her together." The human did not smile, but for the first time he believed the child's words might be true. And far in the dark sky, the raider warship stirred. The land grew darker with every step. Beyond the valley, the hills ended and the world changed. The soil was black, cracked like broken glass. Great towers of stone jutted out of the ground, sharp and twisted as if the earth itself had been torn apart. Strange lights moved in the distance, red, green, blue, like eyes watching from the shadows. The child walked close behind the human, their small steps quick, their hands gripping the silver star charm tight. Their glowing eyes darted everywhere, wide with fear. "This is the border," the child whispered. "No one from the villages comes here. They say the land is cursed. They say if you breathe the air too long, it will change you." The human's eyes scanned the horizon. His face showed no fear, but his hand stayed near his blade. He had seen cursed places before on other worlds, and he knew one thing: fear often carried truth. The two walked on. The silence here was heavier, as if sound itself had been swallowed. No birds, no insects, no life, only the distant hum of machines. At last they came to a broken ridge. From the top, the land stretched wide, and in the center stood the fortress of the Dark Raiders. It rose like a black mountain, its walls glowing faint red with energy lines that pulsed like veins. Spires of iron pierced the sky, and warships circled above like vultures guarding their nest. Around it, the ground burned, rivers of fire cutting across the earth. The child gasped, clutching the human's coat. "She is inside. I can feel it." The human narrowed his eyes. His scarred face was still, but inside his chest a storm moved. This was no ordinary stronghold. This was a place built for fear, a place built to keep hope away. He crouched low, studying the fortress walls. Patrols of raider soldiers marched in perfect lines. Drones hovered in the air, their red lights scanning every shadow. "Too many to fight head-on," the human said quietly. The child frowned. "Then how?" The human's voice was firm. "We watch, we wait. We find a way inside." They stayed hidden in the broken ridge, watching. Hours passed. The sky grew darker. At last, the child whispered, "I don't understand. Why do they fear you so much? Why do they call for you?" The human's eyes stayed on the fortress. His voice was low. "Because they know the truth. Long ago, their kind fought against humans, and they lost." The child's eyes widened. "You fought them before?" The human shook his head. "Not me, but others. Long before I was born. Raiders remember. They carry that fear in their blood. That is why they hunt me. That is why they took your mother, to draw me out." The child swallowed hard. Their small hands trembled, but their voice was steady. "Then we will not let them win." The human finally turned his gaze on the child. For the first time, he saw not only fear in their glowing eyes, but also strength, a fire that refused to die. He nodded once. "No, we won't." As night fell, they began to move again, creeping down into the cursed land. The air was thick and hot, carrying the smell of burning metal. Strange creatures slithered in the shadows, their bodies glowing faintly with green light. They hissed as the two passed, but did not attack. The child whispered, "They say the raiders twist living things. They say these creatures were once people." The human's grip tightened on his blade, but his voice stayed calm. "Don't look at them. Keep moving." They reached the edge of the fortress walls, black and towering above them. Up close, the surface was alive, shifting slightly, pulsing like skin. The child touched it once, then pulled back in horror. "It's alive," they whispered. The human said nothing. His jaw tightened. He pressed his palm against the wall, feeling the faint thrum of energy beneath. It was not just stone. It was something older, something wrong. He pulled his hand back. "There will be a way inside." "There always is." They circled the wall in silence. At last they found a broken section near a collapsed spire, where the metal had cracked open. Smoke leaked out, glowing faint red. The human crouched low, listening. No guards nearby. He turned to the child. "This is the way," he said. The child's voice shook. "But what if we are caught?" The human's eyes were cold, steady. "Then we fight." They slipped inside. The air was hotter here, heavy with smoke and strange whispers. The walls pulsed with light and the ground vibrated under their feet. The child's breath quickened. "She is close. I can feel her." The human moved carefully, each step silent, blade ready. His eyes scanned the halls of the fortress, dark corridors lit only by red glow, shadows shifting, voices echoing from somewhere deep within. They turned a corner and froze. Ahead, cages lined the walls. Inside were figures, villagers, warriors, strangers from other worlds, all trapped, their eyes empty, their bodies weak. They reached out with trembling hands, whispering for help. The child gasped. They take so many. The human's face hardened. He knew then what this fortress truly was. Not just a prison, a place of feeding. A place where hope was drained from the living, turned into power for the raiders. The child grabbed his arm. Their voice was sharp, urgent. We must find her. Before it is too late, the human nodded. His eyes moved deeper into the fortress. And there, far away, he heard it, a faint cry. A voice calling, the mother. He tightened his grip on the blade. His voice was steady, cold. Stay close. The true fight begins now. The fortress air grew heavier the deeper they went. Every wall pulsed with a slow, living glow, like the heartbeat of some giant creature. The child stayed close to the human, their small hand gripping the silver star charm. Each step echoed in the red-lit halls, and each echo seemed to wake something in the dark. They passed cages of prisoners, their bodies thin, their eyes empty. Some whispered, some cried, some only stared. The human kept moving. Though his jaw was tight, his fists clenched. He wanted to break every chain, but he knew if he stopped now, they would never reach the mother. At last, they came to a vast chamber. It stretched high into the black ceiling, where rivers of red light flowed upward like fire. In the center stood a massive crystal, glowing dark and deep, surrounded by machines that pulsed with power. Around it, raider soldiers knelt in silence as if in worship. The child's eyes widened in fear. What is this place? The human's voice was low, steady. The heart, the core of their power. As they watched, the crystal pulsed brighter, and one of the cages on the wall flickered. The prisoner inside screamed. Their energy pulled out like mist, flowing into the dark crystal. When the scream ended, the prisoner fell silent, empty, hollow, more shadow than flesh. The child gasped, tears burning in their eyes. They are feeding on them. The human's face darkened. His voice was grim. No, they are not just feeding. They are twisting, turning life into fuel. The child's lips trembled. My mother. A voice cut through the chamber. She is not lost yet. The child spun, their eyes wide. Across the chamber, behind a wall of energy, stood their mother. Her body was weak, her skin pale, but her eyes still burned with fire. Chains of light wrapped around her, pulling at her strength, feeding the dark core. Mother, the child cried, rushing forward. But the human grabbed their arm, holding them back. The raider guards rose at once, their weapons glowing, their masks hissing. And then another figure stepped from the shadows, taller than the rest, stronger. Its armor was black and jagged, its mask a cruel crown of red light. Its voice shook the chamber. So the human comes. Just as we wanted. The child froze. The human's eyes narrowed, his grip tightening on the blade. The raider leader stepped closer, its voice heavy with pride. Do you know why we took her, human? Not because she is strong. Not because she leads her people. But because she called for you. Her hope for you feeds the crystal. Her belief makes it stronger. The child's face twisted in shock. You took her to trap him? The raider leader laughed, a sound like grinding stone. Yes, we have hunted humans before. But you, human, you are the last. You carry what we fear most. Not your flesh. Not your blade. But your will. The will that resists our corruption. The will that cannot be bent. The human's jaw clenched. His voice was steady. That is why you fear us. The raider's mask glowed brighter. Fear? No, we learned. Long ago your kind destroyed us, but this time we will not fight your strength. We will use it. The crystal feeds on hope, and hope follows you like a curse. You think saving her will bring light, but it will bring only more power to us. The child's knees weakened. Their mother, still chained, shouted through the energy wall, her voice trembling but strong. Do not listen. He twists truth. He feeds on lies. You, human, you are the key to breaking them. The core cannot bend you. That is why they hunt you. That is why they need me, to draw you here. The raider leader's voice cracked like thunder. Silence. But the human's eyes stayed locked on the mother. He could see the truth in her eyes. She was more than a prisoner. She was the last voice of resistance, and if she died, the fire of her people would die too. The child's voice broke, tears running down their face. Please save her. The raider soldiers raised their weapons. The leader spread his arms, voice echoing. Choose, human. Strike us, and the core will feed on your rage. Refuse, and she dies. Either way, we win. The human took a step forward, blade in hand. His face was calm, his eyes sharp. He spoke not to the raider, but to the child. Do you trust me? The child swallowed hard, then nodded. Yes. The human gripped the blade tighter, then raised his voice steady as stone. Then we fight. But not for rage, not for despair. We fight for her. The chamber shook with the roar of the raider leader as soldiers charged. The crystal pulsed brighter, drawing power from the chained prisoners. The air filled with sparks and screams. The child's mother called out one last time, her voice fierce. The crystal is their heart. Destroy it and you break them all. The human's eyes locked on the glowing core. His jaw set. His voice was steel. Then that's where I strike. He raised his blade and the battle began. The chamber thundered with noise. Red light pulsed from the crystal, shadows twisted across the walls, and the air shook with the sound of metal feet. The raider soldiers rushed forward, their weapons glowing like fire. The human stood his ground. His blade gleamed under the crystal's red glow. The child clung to the wall behind him, clutching their silver charm, eyes wide with both fear and faith. The first raider charged. The human moved fast, slashing upward, sparks bursting as metal split. The soldier fell, but two more took its place. The human blocked one strike, kicked the other back, then spun with raw strength, cutting through both in a single arc. The child gasped. For a moment, it seemed he could not be stopped. But the raider leader only laughed, its voice deep, echoing like thunder in a storm. Strike all you want, human. With every battle, the crystal grows stronger. The human's blade clashed against another soldier's weapon. The sound rang sharp, and for the first time his hand trembled. The child saw it. The human was tiring. Sweat ran down his scarred face. Blood dripped from his arm where a strike had grazed him. The raider leader stepped closer, its red mask glowing bright. You bleed. You weaken. You are no god. You are flesh. Soon you will break. The child's chest tightened. They wanted to run, to hide. But then they looked at their mother, still chained inside the wall of energy, her strength fading. Her eyes locked on the child, and she shook her head fiercely. Do not fear, she whispered. Stand, fight beside him. The child's heart pounded. Their legs shook, but they stepped forward, clutching the silver charm tight. They shouted with a trembling voice, Mighty human, you are not alone. The human glanced back. For just a moment, the child's glowing eyes reflected in his own, and something changed. His tired breath steadied. His grip on the blade tightened. He turned back to the soldiers, a new fire burning in his gaze. He roared and struck with all his strength. His blade sliced through the next wave of raiders, cutting down 3 in a single strike. Sparks flew, metal screamed, and the ground shook. The child's mother shouted, voice breaking but strong, The core! Strike the core. The human's eyes locked on the crystal. It pulsed with dark energy, every beat louder, heavier, as if mocking him. Prisoners screamed as their energy was drained. The air grew hot, choking, heavy with despair. The human ran toward it, but the raider leader moved fast, stepping in his path, its massive blade of red energy clashing against his steel. The impact shook the chamber. Sparks lit the air. The leader's voice was sharp, filled with rage. You cannot win. You are only one man. The human pushed back, their blades locked. His voice was low, cold. One man is enough, they fought fiercely, strike after strike. Each clash sent shockwaves through the chamber. The human's muscles burned, his wounds bled, but he did not fall. The child watched with wide eyes, whispering prayers to the silver star charm. But then, the leader's blade struck deep. It cut across the human's side, burning into flesh. He staggered, his knees nearly buckling. Blood stained his torn clothes. The child screamed, No! The leader's laughter filled the hall. See? The mighty human falls. The human dropped to one knee, blade trembling in his hand. His vision blurred. The crystal pulsed louder, feeding on his pain. Prisoners screamed again. The child's mother cried out, You must rise. He cannot break you. The child ran to the human, kneeling beside him. Tears streamed down their face. Please, don't stop. You promised. You said we fight for her. The human looked at the child, their small hand clutching his coat. For a moment he saw not fear, but unshakable trust. He closed his eyes, breath heavy. Deep inside, where pain screamed, he found something stronger. Something that had carried him across worlds, across wars. Will. He pushed himself up, blade steady again. Blood ran down his side, but his eyes burned with fire. He looked at the leader, his voice strong. I told you. I don't break. The child's voice rose behind him, shouting, echoing across the chamber. He will not break. The prisoners heard. Their weak whispers grew louder. He will not break. He will not break. The fortress walls trembled. The crystal pulsed faster, as if unsettled by their voices. The raider leader roared, swinging its massive blade, but the human blocked, sparks flying. He pushed forward step by step, every strike forcing the leader back. The child's mother screamed through the chains, her voice filled with hope. The crystal is bound to him. When he strikes, it will shatter. The human's eyes locked on the dark crystal. His body ached, his blood ran, but his spirit was steel. He roared, driving the leader back with one last strike, then turned and raised his blade high. The crystal pulsed one final time, bright and dark all at once. And the human brought his blade down with everything he had. The chamber exploded with light. The chamber was no longer dark. The crystal shattered under the human's strike, and the explosion of light shook the fortress. Waves of energy burst outward, tearing through the walls, breaking the chains of prisoners. The red glow that once fed the raiders flickered and died. The child fell to the ground, covering their eyes. The silver star charm burned hot in their palm, glowing bright as if alive. When the light faded, smoke filled the chamber. The ground was cracked, the machines broken. Prisoners crawled free from their cages, gasping for air. For the first time, their eyes were not empty. The human stood in the middle of it all, chest heaving, his blade smoking from the strike. His side bled heavily, but he stood tall, unbroken. From the smoke came a roar. The raider leader still lived. Its armor was cracked, glowing red through the breaks, but its form was not weak. It staggered, then straightened, lifting its massive blade of energy. "You think you won, human?" It growled, voice echoing through the ruins. "You destroyed the crystal, but the darkness still flows in me. I am the last core, and I will not fall." The child gasped, clinging to their mother's arm. The mother, though weak, pushed them behind her, her eyes sharp. "Do not fear. He has broken their heart. All that remains is one fight." The human raised his blade again. His voice was low, steady. "Then one fight is enough," the leader charged. The ground shook under its steps, the broken fortress walls shattering further. The human met the charge head-on. Their blades clashed, sending sparks and shockwaves across the chamber. Each strike echoed like thunder. The leader swung with the power of a storm, but the human blocked, dodged, and struck back. His body burned with pain, but his will burned hotter. The child shouted, "You can do it! Mighty human!" The prisoners, freed from their chains, began to gather. Weak, broken, but their voices joined. "Fight, fight, fight!" The fortress shook with their cries. The leader grew furious. "Silence! Your voices mean nothing." It swung wildly, smashing stone, tearing through walls. But every missed strike only gave the human more ground. At last, the human landed a heavy blow, his blade cutting through the leader's shoulder. Sparks exploded. The leader roared in rage, staggering but did not fall. "You cannot kill me," it screamed. "I am eternal." The human cut across its words with another strike, blade slicing deep. The leader staggered again, sparks and smoke pouring from its armor. The child's mother cried out, "Now! End it!" The human gripped his blade with both hands, every muscle straining, every wound screaming. His voice rose, strong and fierce. "This ends now." He charged. The leader swung its massive blade down in a final strike, but the human rolled aside, coming up fast. His blade flashed upward, piercing through the leader's chest. The leader froze. Its glowing mask flickered, its voice breaking. "No, not possible. No." The human pulled his blade free and kicked the leader back. The massive figure stumbled, then crashed to the ground. Its body sparked once, twice, then went still. Silence filled the chamber. The fortress began to collapse. The walls cracked, towers fell, flames burst from the broken machines. Prisoners scrambled, fleeing into the open night. The child ran to their mother, clutching her tightly. Tears streamed down their glowing cheeks. "You're safe. You're safe." The mother hugged them weakly, her voice soft but strong. "Because of him." The child looked at the human. He stood in the ruins, his blade still in hand, blood staining his clothes. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. For the first time, the human allowed himself to breathe deep, to let the silence fill him. He looked at the child and their mother. His scarred face softened. "You're free now," he said. The mother shook her head. "Not just us, all of us. You broke the core. You broke their chains. You gave us back our hope." The child stepped forward, holding up the silver star charm. Their voice was clear, strong. "We could not have done it without you. You are more than a legend. You are our protector." The human looked at the charm, then at the child. Slowly, he knelt, placing a rough hand on their shoulder. His voice was low. Keep that hope. Don't let it die. It is stronger than any weapon. The fortress collapsed behind them, flames lighting the night sky. The Raider army was broken, their power gone with the crystal and their leader. The people were free. The child's mother whispered, "The world will remember this night." The villagers, prisoners, and survivors all gathered, their eyes on the human. Whispers spread through the crowd, growing louder until they were shouts. "Mighty human! Mighty human!" The human stood again, tall and silent. He sheathed his blade, his eyes on the horizon. The stars above were cold but no longer heavy. For the first time in a long while he felt the weight of victory. The child ran to his side, smiling through their tears. "Where will you go now?" The human looked out into the night. His voice was quiet, steady. "Where I'm needed." And with that he walked forward into the darkness beyond the fortress, his shadow long under the burning sky. The child and their mother watched, hope shining in their eyes. The legend of the mighty human had begun.